Hi, I'm John from Just Whiskey. If you like today's show, please give it a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. It really helps out the algorithm. And thanks to all the Patreons that I have that help support this channel. And if you'd like to become a Patreon, consider donating with the link in the description below. And another special shout out to a couple of friends of mine from Ohio, John and Deb. And they surprised me and sent me this Ghoul t-shirt. They know I'm a big t-shirt guy and a classic horror film. And growing up in the early to mid 70s, there was a horror host called the Ghoul. And this is what he looked like. And he wore this like hospital coat, and he would come out of a trash can with old film, kind of like Oscar the Grouch from Sesame Street. And he would blow stuff up on his show, like put firecrackers in M80s and model cars and toys and things of that nature. And he was a horror host well before Svengoolie. And John from Ohio and myself grew up watching the Ghoul late night, I think usually on Friday nights, hosting Creature Double Features where he would be talking about and goofing on like Godzilla and Frankenstein and the creature from the Black Lagoon and all those kind of things. So thank you very much, John and Deb, for being so thoughtful and sending me this very cool shirt that I really like. Today we're going to be doing something different, and I'm calling it Bottle Kill or Bottle Kills. These are all the bottles that I've killed, that I finished in the last 2 or 3 years. And it's certainly inspired from Roy from Aquaviti when he does his recycled reviews. So it's going to be a similar format to that, but I just want to be a little bit original and call it Bottle Kills. So in no particular order, I'm just going to go through these bottles quickly and kind of give you a quick summation of my impressions on that bottle as best I can, and in no particular order. All right, first one, Peat Monster Arcana Limited Edition. I really enjoyed this, and this one differs from the regular Peat Monster in that the majority of it is Talisker, and it also has a little bit of Ardbeg in it, as well as some Milton Duff. So it's a definite different makeup from the classic Peat Monster. And this came out a few short years ago. 8,328 bottles, limited edition. You can still find it for about $100, and in my opinion, it's worth it. All right, what do we have next here? Okay, this is a Pendrin cast strength 13-year-old. I reviewed this for my Patreons. If you want to become a Patreon, you can see the full review on that. Okay, recently reviewed Kilkerran 16-year-old from Campbelltown, Springbank sister distillery. Kilkerran 16, very good, but I think you get more bang for your buck, more value for money from the Kilkerran 12. Okay. All these have been reviewed, so if you want to get a good idea, you can go look at my reviews. Don Julio Tequila, 1942. Okay, super cool bottle. I reviewed this comparing it to the Clase Azul. I prefer the Clase Azul over this, but if you like a more ex-bourbon style tequila, premium tequila, then probably go with this. If you like more of a citrusy, fruity, more complex, the Clase Azul in the premium market. But in today's tequila market, in my opinion, there are better values for money. But cool bottle, cool packaging. All right, this is a Gordon and MacPhail's independent bottling of Old Pulteney 21 at 43%. I got this for a good price. You might still be able to find it. I really enjoyed this bottle, and the 43% I think was the perfect ABV for this, which you won't hear me say very often. Um, it's very good. All right. This is an old Highland Park 12, which I've reviewed, comparing it to a more recent Highland Park 12. This particular old Highland Park 12 was from, I think, probably 10 years ago. A bit funky, a little sulfury, but I enjoyed it. I found it very interesting compared to the more sanitized Highland Park 12 that's out there now. And that comes in at 43% ABV. All right, Klein Leash 14-year-old, non-peated. This was my whiskey of the year 2 years ago. You can still find this for between $50 to $70. So this was my whiskey of the year a couple of years ago. Klein Leash 14, highly recommend it. Non-peated Highland offering, the sister distillery of Barora. All right, Highland Park 15-year-old, the newer version in the ceramic bottle. When I first opened this, the first few pours, the first few weeks, I thought it was good, but it didn't meet my expectations. As it traveled down to in the bottle there, I really enjoyed this bottle quite a bit. And at the time, I think I paid around $85 for it. Now it's a little over, you can still find it. It's a little over $100 now. It's 44% ABV. It could use a little more ABV in my opinion, a little more oomph to it, but I really enjoyed it quite a bit. And I would buy that again. Barrel Seagrass. Now we're tipping into the bourbon and the rye department. Okay, Barrel Seagrass are independent bottlers, the blenders. And this Barrel Seagrass, there's many different batches of it. And if you look, it's almost impossible to see, but in the far right-hand corner where the green meets the blue, there's a tiny number, and that's the batch number. And you can also kind of tell the batch numbers by the different ABVs. This is cask strength, a unique, very sweet, thick, viscous, desserty, fruity, and the apricots shine through on this. What else? All right, yeah. Ben Romick Peat Smoke. Every year they make a different version of it. I have other versions of it, but I reviewed this. I thoroughly enjoyed this. Probably my favorite Ben Romick offering, to be honest with you, that I've tried, is the Ben Romick Peat Smoke. And again, it's batch to batch. They can vary. But if you go back in my archives, this one here was distilled in 2008, bottled in 2018. I really enjoyed that bottle. All right. Craig Alecky 13-year-old was my whiskey of the year last year. You can find this for $50 to $60. In my opinion, it's one of the best values out there for period. Non-peated Craig Alecky Speyside 13-year-old. Probably one of the best value for monies that you can find out there. Highly recommend it. All right, Talisker 10-year-old. I really enjoyed Talisker, and Talisker 10-year-old was my peated whiskey of the year last year. I always have backup bottles of this, and I find Talisker 10 to be a chameleon in that almost every pour, from neck pour all the way down to the bottom, I get a different experience from it. It's one of the few bottles that I can say that about, and this is available in my area all day long for $50. I know a lot of other areas might be $60 to $70, but this is readily available in my area at $50. You cannot beat Talisker 10. A little bit of peat, a little bit of smoke, but very on the light side. Great introductory offering for someone that wants to explore peat. Springbank 17, special release a couple years, 2 or 3 years ago. This is the Madeira cask finish. 47.8% ABV. I enjoyed this, but in my opinion, I mean, it's a lot of money. I think you can get better value for money in probably the Springbank 10, and if you can find the Springbank 12, which is impossible. Springbanks are almost impossible to find, but I did enjoy it, but I don't think for me, it wasn't worth the money. I prefer actually the limited edition Springbank 15-year-old rum cask finish. I enjoyed that more than I did this. If that helps you out at all. All right. Lefroy Carchus Warehouse 1. This was exclusively ex-bourbon, and all the barrels were matured in Warehouse 1 by the ocean. I was expecting more than I got from this. I did enjoy it, but not as much as I thought I would. I probably wouldn't buy this again. Lefroy 10 cask strength, in my opinion, is where it's at. That's the best value for money. Lecheg 10-year-old. This is one of my favorite all-time go-to peated whiskeys. It's Tobermory is ramping up their production geared more towards Lecheg and going away from their Tobermory 12. They're still going to keep the Tobermory 12, but the Lecheg 10 is outselling their Tobermory 12-year-old. I really enjoy this. It's you have to hunt a little bit for it, and right now you're going to probably pay closer to $65 to $75 for it. Fantastic peated whiskey. If you can find it, highly recommend it. All right, Glencadam 15-year-old. I definitely prefer this over the 10-year-old. It does cost a little bit more. This, even though this is a Highland, it reminds me a little bit of the stereotypical Lowland style. This is very light and fruity and complex. Glencadam 15, I would take it over the 10. I highly recommend this one. Yeah. All right. Glen Scotia 15-year-old. I did enjoy this bottle, and at the time it was great value for money, and it probably still is great value for money. By no means is it a sherry bomb, but there is definitely a sherry influence in here. So if you're a sherry head, I think you'd really appreciate the Glen Scotia 15-year-old. I enjoyed it, but it didn't knock my socks off like it does many of the people, I think, that really probably enjoy sherry a little bit more than I do. All right, Springbank 10. Every year they have up to several or a few different bottlings of Springbank 10. Good luck finding it. Years ago, I was able to buy this for $60. Now it's $100. Is it worth that? I don't know. It's obviously Springbank 10 speaks for itself. Fantastic whiskey, but not really for the beginner. You want to really take your time with this, and this will teach you a lot. If you can find a Springbank 10, again, multiple batches per year. Some are more fruity than others. So I reviewed that at least a couple of times, I believe. Okay, Highland Park. This is the Twisted Tattoo. 16-year-old, 46.7% ABV. And I highly, highly enjoyed this, and I have a couple of backup bottles of this. This was a limited edition back in 2017 or 18. You can still find it. The price is creeping up a little bit. If you can, I think the price is a little bit over $100 now. If you can find it for around 100, 110, I would recommend it. Highly enjoyed this Twisted Tattoo. Probably the best Highland Park probably that I've had so far. Redbreast. This was a very limited USA exclusive. I've reviewed and talked about this 2 or 3 times over the 2 or 3 years. Cask strength, 14 years old. This was a fantastic whiskey. As it oxidized, when it really got low in the bottle, it became a little less appealing. But for the first 2 to 3 years that I was drinking this, I thoroughly enjoyed this. Good luck finding it, but yeah, Redbreast Irish whiskey, 14-year-old, USA only. It's long gone, but all right. Ardbeg Scorch. The neck pour on this blew my mind. It was, if I had to rate it just in a neck pour, it would have been a 92 or a 93. I was really blown away by the neck pour on it. After it started, right after the neck pour and throughout the whole bottle, it became, from my experience, much more muddled, and kind of the peat kind of fell apart. But from the neck pour, when I first cracked this before oxygen hit it, it was so vibrant and explosive and incredible. But after that, I was quite disappointed with it. I would not buy this again, and I still see this on shelves, believe it or not. All right, and last but not least, oh, here we go, another Lecheg 10. This is the older bottling of it. I've already talked about Lecheg 10, so no need to repeat it. That's it for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. Something a little bit different. Those are my bottle kills. If you like today's show, please give it a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Consider becoming a Patreon with the link in the description below. And thanks again so much for Deb and John from Ohio for getting me this Ghoul shirt, a horror host from the 70s, and it brings back great memories. So thanks to you all. Hats off to you all, and take care.